Hi, fans of orchestral music. We're going to look at a few licks from a famous piece, Daphnis and Chloe, by Ravel. Of course, it's great to get the score and look at it. It's wonderful. It's necessary to kind of listen to recordings so you can hear the context of the whole piece. But we're going to drill down today on a little bit of just the basic craftsmanship of playing this, playing these licks. And it's in a very French style, as you would expect. So I'll just play a few licks and then make some comments that I hope will help you to refine the quality of your playing if you're interested in working in the orchestra. So this first one is 2 bars after rehearsal number 88 in the score. And it says, Loin derrière la scène, which means far away. You know, it's like you're backstage, you're far away. And then the next lick gets a little bit closer, the next one a little bit closer, and then you're right, you're right almost on stage. And that's done in various ways. But now we're just going to play everything loud because that's normally the way it's done, and the distance is created in other ways. So here we go. So I'm staying in the tempo. I'm staying in the tempo when I release. Okay, so we'll take a quick look at that. There are a couple more licks I'll play. We'll see how much time we have today. At the beginning, if you look at the music, you'll see a 30-second note triplet. So you have a slow tempo, 1, 2, da, 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 flowing along. Da, 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 da. Now it's a simple rhythm, but you want to hit the target. So the way I would practice it is, am I actually da 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 da. Can I ride on that subdivision of the triplet 30 seconds? Do I have that in my mind? And then can I go directly to 16ths and directly to 8ths? And the way you do that is just feel the big beats and then make sure that your small beats are accurate. In the next lick, it's the same thing, only now you have a sextuplet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then you have 30 seconds. And you have duplet 30 seconds. Now, that's obvious from the music. You can look at the notation, but most people actually don't play that accurately. And if you do play it accurately, if you play it with totally literally, which I just tried to do, now you're at the point where you can start thinking about how are you going to make some kind of musical gesture and expression. Because yes, they expect you to play it accurately, but it's not really about the accuracy. It's about, like, how does the music feel when somebody listens to it? So if you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 1, da 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 da, that doesn't really allow for the character of the music to come through. So these are, typical of French music, these are gestures. And the gesture is like a single movement that conveys meaning of some kind. And they're little fanfares, as you can tell. So what we're actually doing on that second lick, for example, is playing this. So I feel like it needs to carry through the whole line. If you're thinking rhythm, that sustained note, which looks like it's very short, but actually isn't. That's the problem with notation. That sustained note feels like it's not going anywhere, and it needs to feel like it's going someplace. And this is mostly, it's not like you're doing anything physically. It's just you're feeling where it's going to. It's going to the next beat. So all I'm thinking is da-di-da-da-ya, da-di-da-di. So it's going through. And that's a big difference when you hear people play this. Even if they play it with perfect mathematical rhythmic precision, that way of doing it is just like the body. It has to have life in it, and the life in it is the gesture and the sense of movement. So what that means is you might hear recordings of this where it's not played perfectly rhythmically accurately, and that's fine, as long as it works. But what I'm suggesting is the rhythm, the nice, solid, tight, literal, explicit rhythm, intentional rhythm is where you start. And then from there, see if you can make some music. There's a lot going on here. So I've talked a little bit about just a couple of bars of music. I'm going to go to another spot. This is 5 bars after rehearsal number 94. This has a crescendo from piano to double forte. Let's see if I can do this. My coordination's a little bit off. I'm kind of clipping with the fingers. I've not found the groove yet. And of course, unless you feel comfortable with the double tongue, this is not going to be very much fun and probably not very successful. So first, make sure that your double tongue is there. And if it needs work, then that should be a big part of working on this piece, as you'll see in a couple of seconds. So I think that's about the tempo. It's 138 in the score, I think. Two. So as you can see, things go by pretty quickly. So you have this. The reason why I like this piece is because it has so much character. It's dramatic, it's whimsical, it's got tremendous excitement in it, and then moments of exultation, you might say. So these are all the things that you're trying to, in your playing, you're trying to facilitate the audience experiencing these things. And that goes back to your musical interpretation. But then I take that right back to the ingredients. So what do you want to hear? You don't want to hear blah, 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 and that's difficult. So what I suggest you practice is my timing still isn't right. So I'm going to slow that down. Now, that's easy. That's pretty easy. Oh, you know, I think it's the crescendo that's goofing me up. So then I'm going to practice that. And that's actually the important thing. We, as trumpet players, we're looking at that tonguing. Well, that's fast multiple tonguing. I'm going to have to get that feeling like it's under control. And then of course, I want it to be very well pronounced. And in trying to have it very physically controlled and well pronounced, we forget that basically all you're doing is yeah, yeah. That's the only thing that's happening there. What's the point? The point is this it's almost scary, this gesture, like an attack, right? So I need to be comfortable to do that. And what I just did when I chipped the note is I'm trying to, I'm going after it physically instead of just doing that simple gesture. So what I would practice is, can I sustain the G comfortably, soft, and feel that I'm always ready to go to forte without forcing, trying to force the air through the horn. And this is a correction that most trumpet players are going to need to make. Now, if you're strong and you have good willpower, you can overcome a lot of these difficulties, but it's never going to sound quite right. So in order to get the real musical expression, you have to kind of solve these physical problems. So the next lick, so that's, now I'm playing in a moderately live room, which you can hear, I think. So then it's double forte, double tug. So you see how each one of these things, as a trumpet player, you understand. Because if you look at the music, you listen to the music, and you're feeling in your own body, oh, that feels like this. Instead of, it should feel like easy airflow. And that's one of the ingredients that most people don't practice, because the fingerings are pretty easy. But the perfect timing of the fingerings with your tongue is not necessarily easy. And when that starts to grind a little bit, then your tongue starts to get tight, and then you're not flowing anymore. What you want is a nice big fat sound. So it's getting a little bit better. Now I know these are incremental improvements, but what I do is when I'm practicing, if we're practicing for an audition or for a performance for that matter, a recording, I'm going to be doing just what I was doing with the idea of becoming more consistent with my musical idea, more intentional in terms of my willpower and how I'm going about it. And then I'm going to see, this is my target musically and my target in terms of the qualities of what I'm doing. And when I get more consistent with that, if I record it 10 times in a row, I'm going to hear some that are really good, maybe even special. And that's how you prepare for an audition. Now, you can't do it all the time, but the more that you're reaching successfully, approaching the ideal with all these refinements, the more people are going to pay attention to your playing. They're going to recognize the quality in it. Okay, and I'm going to play a couple of other licks, and these are interesting as well. This is rehearsal number 201. I didn't like that at all. It didn't feel good. Why? Well, because I have something in mind. I know what I want it to sound like, and I didn't hear that come out of the horn. What was I hearing? Well, it's kind of subtle, and a lot of the things I'm talking about are. But again, if I go back to that dynamic idea, it starts mezzo forte accented. This part of the piece, actually most of the piece, is very exciting. and it gets physically exciting. And you start to get cranked up a little bit. People are playing a little bit louder than they actually should. This only says mezzo forte. But it has to still have that, dit-tom, dit-tom, that musical intensity, right? What I was missing is it's just a smooth diminuendo through these notes. And the quality of the notes shouldn't change. Only the dynamic. And then there's what I call articulating with the fingers. That's the fingers snap up and the fingers snap down and the hand stays loose. And then you start to get that really fun sensation of flow. Flow without feeling like you're having to force anything. Then there's a little lick in the third trumpet part. Which is, it's kind of a little solo. And I have bad memories about this. so I don't know if I'm going to just be able to nail it the first time through, but I'm going to try. So here goes. This is rehearsal number 212. That wasn't too bad. Now, let's say it sounded like that's spot on, that's like the Phil Smith excerpt CD, it's like Mike Sachs excerpts recordings, it's like many of the recordings that you may be referencing for your own work, and that's great. So it sounds good, but I didn't feel like, I didn't feel like physically that was it. And that's a problem, because in the back of my mind is going to be this sensation, it works most of the time. And of course, in the performance, as they say, when the cards are on the table, or in a recording, or in an audition, you want to be able to have fun with it, because part of what people are hearing is the enjoyment that you're getting out of actually playing this music. Again, I'm going to not go to the music on this one, but I'm going to go to a very simple thing. Listen. concentrating on pretty much entirely is the connected flow between the notes and staying in the center of the note. So when I move from one note to another, there is no adjustment. If the internal movement is correct, I'm staying in the center, moving between the notes, and there's no feeling of adjustment. The sensation, as I've said many times, is as if you're playing one note. And then I can start to get the gesture. And now the music starts to come through. Tonguing too hard. If I go back to my slur. You know, a lot of people slamming the lower note. And that actually works in a performance. To some extent, you need to do it. A natural vocal way of doing it would be the higher notes are generally a little bit more intense, stronger than the lower notes. In the orchestra, especially when you have a rhythmic component like this, you have to sometimes you have to bring those shorter notes and those lower notes out a little bit. So some people are taught that and they overcompensate by going. So it's a judgment call. How far do you go in that direction? If you go like this, well, that's nice. It works, but it loses a lot of the intensity in the lower register. How well is it getting out into the hall? So if you're thinking this way in terms of how is it possible for somebody else to hear what I'm doing? Are they hearing what I intend? Instead of just trying to overcome the physical things that we talked about today, then you're going to be heading in the right direction. So I hope some of this has been at least entertaining for you, and hopefully some useful insights to prepare you for the athletic competition of auditions, if that is indeed what you're doing. If you're not an orchestra player and you happen to be watching this, it's all about the musical qualities that we can produce on the instrument. And the more qualities you learn how to produce, the more ingredients you have, the better cook you can be, the better cook you can be. The more ingredients, the better the ingredients you have, the better chef you can be. It's all based on the ingredients. So these qualities that I keep talking about, that's the ingredients. Go and practice, and I'll see you when you have time for another session. Have a great day. Bye-bye.